issues along the way, just let us know and we'll try and fix them as we go. But welcome to Cactus Country, and here's Jim, the creator. The garden was started back in 1986 and we opened in 1988. We now have around 12 acres or around 4 and a bit hectares of cactus garden, and the garden's broken up into areas of origin, so as we go around we might even just let you know what region we're in. So at the moment we're going to start in North America and Mexico, and so the plants that are in this section are originally from there. And so here's Jim, take it away.
Hi everybody. Well, I thought that today, since we had a little wait trying to get a connection, that we just start here in this section here where we can see some mammillarias, some echinocactuses, and some big pharaoh cactus there and some smaller ones. And if John just comes over here, this is how pharaoh cactus increase their ribs. So as they get bigger, they quite often increase a rib. So you can see a new rib coming here and some new ribs coming around here. So they're adding them in. So what usually happens is they stop one rib growing and then they give two more. And that's how they increase their rib size. So some people mistake it for monstrosity or monstrousness, but it's not that at all. And as John said, this section of the garden is quite old. A lot of these mammillarias that we're looking at here on the ground and over here are the original plants that came with the collection that we bought from South Australia in 1983. And they've been in the garden all that time. They've been shifted twice to bring them to here where they are now, but they've been here for quite a few years. So a lot of these mammillarias, this one here and the little one over there and the little one down here are very slow growing. So those plants are about 45 years old, and you can see at this time of the year, even though we're heading into winter, they still think they're in mess. And you can see seed coming here. They're popping out seed from last season, but they're also starting to flower for this year. So if the sun would shine full out, then they would open up. And the other thing is that nearly all cacti seed is edible, and the American Indian or the Mexican natives in ancient times, I guess, would have eaten these as a delicacy. So let's just oh, that's not too bad. It's just like a bit of jam, but it's very small. I think you'd want to be in a big cacti to get feed. Now, so that's the mammillarias. And then over here we've got the pharaoh cactus. And these plants here are also very old, and they're probably as big. The big guy in here, for instance, would probably be as big as you'll see in Australia. There may be bigger ones, but it's the pharaoh cactus recurvus, and I'm sure they've got other names. But it has very long spikes on it, and when they're small, the spikes are, well, John, down at your feet there, see that one there, the spikes look bigger compared to the size of the plant because they start quite large. And the other thing about these guys is we're talking about food. One that's a bit older down here, just pick this, and the skin is inedible. It's not very nice at all. If we can, got a knife here somewhere. Here we go. We'll open this up. There we go. And you can see the seed. Now that seed, the Indians, the natives would have crushed this up, turned it into a paste and used it like a flour, or just eating them raw and just crunch them because they've got very high protein apparently. So yeah, but once again, I don't think I'd be they're just crunchy like chia seed or whatever. So now, John, if you go over in the middle, you can show the Pharaoh Cactus Herrera over here, and then we can. So these are some young plants that have just started flowering last year and this year, and you can see the big broad spine. So this is a hybrid that Cactus Company's bred, and it's crossed with Lattice spinus, and hence it has these really huge strong spines. Down here we've got a Agave macrocanthus, used often in landscaping, and I think we'll just take a walk.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we've had part food safari.
Now this is another hybrid using the Pharaoh Cactus Herrera as the parent or as the mother, and it's got very, very long spines compared to normal. Let's see if we can find the ones over there, John. Do you zoom in on those? Spiral one over there. That's the long form.
The really big one.
Yeah, the big one's lying down on the golden ball.
Go over and have a look.
Malaria, start with as a background there. You can see the Apuntia Burbank blue spineless, which is a Luther Burbank hybrid. It's one that was bred for people to eat and for the fruit. And you can see it's quite a large plant. So in Queensland or somewhere where you get tropical rains and quite wet at times, they tend to really go berserk and grow, just prolifically grow. When they had the, I don't know what you call the plague in Queensland, it was spreading at some really ridiculous rate, like maybe some metres a day in total growth. So it became a really big problem. And when you drive through Queensland now, you can still see some of the hybrid robusta stands around about at different places, like maybe St George in Queensland. You see quite a bit on the stations there, but cattle will eat it, and they inject it with a chemical to try and control it. And so it's rather, I guess we don't want it going here in Australia and taking over, but in similar countries like Mexico and the United States, it grows in certain areas and it doesn't grow anywhere else. So it's quite, when you travel over there, you can sort of become used to the fact that plants grow in different areas, and that's the only place they tend to grow. So it's only that us humans have picked them up and carried them all over the world, and then they adapt to a different environment. So our plants here have adapted. We've got a general climate, which is, we have about 6 months of intermediate weather. So what I'm saying is like spring and autumn, and our 6 months, well, when I say 6 months, it's probably like 8 months. We only really get 2 months of probably really bad winter weather here, and we tend to get a month of really hot summer. And so some of these cacti will just keep growing for, if we get the rains, they'll grow for up to 6 to 9 months of the year. And that's why the plants are so big and doing so well. If you're in Melbourne, it'll take you probably 3 or 4 times as long to get the plants to grow to the size that they're growing to here.